If that mandate or the entire law is struck down, what happens to our entire healthcare system? Will it be pure chaos, even worse than it is now? Republican Congressman and medical doctor Phil Gingrey, Republican from Georgia, is on Capitol Hill and he joins us now. All right, doctor, you're a doctor. Well, I think we've got pretty much chaos in healthcare now. I say it gets a whole lot worse if Obamacare is struck down.
Well, Stuart, you're absolutely right. Unless the whole law is struck down, in regard to the severability clause issue that they debated on Monday, 17% of Democrats think the whole law should be struck down, and 31% of Democrats think the individual mandate should be struck. That was reported in the Washington Post ABC poll yesterday.
But Congressman, you've got nothing to replace it with. At this moment, if it's struck down, you've got nothing there to put in its place. And even if you did, you couldn't get it passed before way into next year.
Well, your original question was what would happen if the individual mandate was struck down and the rest of the law was allowed to stand. Well, direct jobs in the health insurance industry, you're talking about 2.3 million, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in all kind of jobs across the country when people are not hiring because of the penalty that they'd have to pay if they didn't provide health insurance, the costs that they would have to pay if they had to provide government mandated health insurance. So, yeah, I mean, it would be a disaster because that provision that says community rating for people with pre-existing conditions, the adverse selection would occur. Health insurance premiums for everybody else would skyrocket, probably go up 40%. So it would be an absolute tsunami if that should happen.
So what is there a plan in place? And if you do have a plan in place to do something about this, could you have any hope of passing it before next year?
Well, look, President Obama, or I should say Senator Obama, had it right before President Obama got it wrong in regard to the individual mandate. If he's reelected, then maybe we can convince him, the Congress can convince him that this law is a bad law and that we need to repeal it and start over again and do what we suggested on the Republican side, is to have the state assisted, federal government assisted high-risk pools within the states to allow individuals to purchase health insurance across state lines, to treat people equally in regard to the tax code, whether they get the health insurance from an employer or buy from an exchange or independent health insurance market, and of course medical liability reform, which we just passed in the House, strike down IPAB. There are a number of things that we can and will do ipso facto, or whatever the expression is, in regard to the jurists, the Supreme striking down the individual mandate.
The political thinking today is that Democrats are secretly hoping for this legislation to be struck down because then they can sort of back away from it and say we tried and the court is biased and they struck it down, we did the best we could, and they can sort of distance themselves from the legislation and still have a rallying point. Do you buy that theory at all?
I don't buy that theory, but I think you're right. And when you hear the comments now from the liberal bloggers saying, well, the individual mandate was never really that important, and the rest of the law is so good that it can stand without it, that is a bunch of baloney, as my good friend, former Speaker Newt Gingrich might say. No, I don't buy that argument one bit. But they're beginning already, as you point out, to put that spin on it in anticipation sometime in June that the Supremes will indeed agree that individual mandate and maybe the Medicaid expansion as well are both unconstitutional. Dr.
Philip Gingrey, Republican from Georgia, thanks very much for joining us, sir. I'm going to break away real fast, so I've got some breaking news on oil for you. Thank you, sir. We've just heard the amount of oil in storage, the inventory report.